Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into something huge, probably one of the most powerful tools a government has in its arsenal. I'm talking about taxation. You know, there's this classic quote, "The power to tax involves the power to destroy." And wow, does that hit the nail on the head. It just perfectly sums up how incredibly potent this power really is. I mean, think about it. It's how we get everything we kind of take for granted, right? Roads, schools, national defense, you name it. But let's be real, it's also a power that takes money directly from you. So that begs a pretty big question, doesn't it? If this power is so strong it can literally destroy, what's stopping it from going completely off the rails? Are there any safety measures in place to keep a government from just, taxing someone into the ground? Well, let's get into it. The answer is yes, absolutely. Turns out, this power is far from unlimited. It's actually wrapped in a whole set of rules, some written down, and some are just understood. It's like a hidden rule book, and it's there to protect you and me. So, let's start with Chapter 1, the unwritten rules. These are what legal folks call inherent limitations. Basically, they're rules that just exist. They're part of the very definition of what a government is, even if nobody bothered to write them into the Constitution. They're just plain common sense. Okay, first big rule, public purpose. This one's a biggie. It means the money the government takes from you in taxes has to be used for the public's benefit. Not for some private pet project, but for the good of everyone, even if it's in an indirect way. And this, right here, this lays it out perfectly. Look at the difference. Helping out a major national industry? Yeah, that helps the whole economy, so that's a legit public purpose. But using that same tax money to build a swimming pool for the mayor's family? Come on, that's just someone lining their own pockets, and that is a huge no-no. All right, rule number 2 is all about boundaries. Call it territoriality. The idea is super simple. A government can only tax people and property that are actually within its borders, under its jurisdiction. If they can't protect it, they can't tax it. But, and this is where it gets really interesting, check out this twist. So, your government can't tax that condo you own over in Tokyo, right? Makes sense, it's in Japan's territory. But if you're a citizen, it absolutely can tax the rent money you make from that condo. And you might ask, why? Well, because the government protects you, the citizen. Wherever you go, it's a personal connection. Next up is a real common sense rule. The government can't tax itself. I mean, why would it? It's literally like taking a $20 bill out of your left pocket and stuffing it into your right pocket. You haven't gained anything, and you've just wasted time and effort doing it. Now, hold on. There's a little asterisk here. We have to separate two things. Your standard government agencies, like the guys who fix the roads, they're exempt. But when the government decides to get into business for itself, say by running a casino, well, that business is usually treated just like any other company. It has to pay taxes, unless there's a special law that says it doesn't. Okay, so those are the unwritten common sense rules. Now let's get into Chapter 2, because this is where things get really solid. We're talking about the protections that are literally written in black and white, right in the Constitution. This is your constitutional shield. First up is a big one, equal protection. This is a cornerstone of fairness. It means the government can't just make up tax rules on a whim to target one group of people while letting another similar group off the hook. If you're in the same boat as someone else, the tax law has to treat you both the same way. Now, this doesn't mean the government can't make distinctions. It can, but those distinctions have to be real and logical. For example, taxing SUVs more than sedans, that's fine. There are different types of vehicles with different impacts. But taxing Hondas more than Toyotas just because? Nope. That's picking favorites, and that's not allowed. The Constitution also carves out some special tax breaks for places like charities, religious institutions, and schools. But it's not a free-for-all. There's a super strict 3-part test. I like to call it the 80E rule. The property has to be actually, directly, and exclusively used for its special purpose. So let's break that down with a real-world example. A church. The main building where services are held, exempt. A little garden out back where they grow vegetables for the clergy, that's fine too. It's closely related to the church's mission. But what happens if they lease the ground floor to a fast food chain? Boom, that part of the property is now a commercial enterprise. It's no longer being used exclusively for religious purposes, so that portion loses its tax exemption and becomes taxable. Okay, for our final chapter, let's pull back the curtain and look at how these rules actually get made. Because the process itself has, you guessed it, more rules. And they're all there to make sure things are done fairly.
So here's the journey a tax bill takes. And step one is non-negotiable. It has to start in the House of Representatives. Why there? Well, it all goes back to that famous idea, no taxation without representation. The thinking is that any law that's going to take money out of your wallet should start in the part of government that's supposed to be closest to the people. And get this, there's another really important check built into the system. If Congress wants to give a new tax exemption to someone, it's not a simple vote. It requires what's called an absolute majority. That means a majority of all the members have to agree, not just the ones who showed up that day. It sets a really high bar, which makes it way harder to hand out special favors to connected groups.
Okay, so we've talked about unwritten rules, constitutional shields, the whole process. But let's bring it all home. Why does any of this rule book actually matter to you?
Because it's not just theory. It means that this incredible power to tax is not absolute. It has limits. All these rules we've talked about, they're the guardrails. They're what keep the whole system on the road, protecting you from abuse and making sure there's at least a baseline for what's fair. The Constitution is literally your shield.
So now that you know the rules of the game, I'll leave you with this question. What does fair taxation really mean to you? Because, understanding these core ideas is the first step. It gives you the power to be part of one of the most important conversations we can have as a society.